Breath of the Wild had many things: Link, Zelda, the Master Sword, all of the classic ingredients that make up a Legend of Zelda adventure. One thing Breath of the Wild didn't have was the Triforce, the most powerful artefact in Hyrule. And today I'm going to have a look at the chances of the Triforce coming to Tears of the Kingdom, plus look at why we might have to do the unthinkable and destroy it. Well, if you're new around here or find this useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Zelda content, and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. Well, before we get into today's topic, let me know in the comments if you want to see the Triforce come back to Tears of the Kingdom, and how you want to see it appear in the story. Will Princess Zelda learn how to control her new power? And will a returning Ganondorf bring with him the Triforce of Power? Let me know down in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. Breath of the Wild broke the model in many ways in the Legend of Zelda series. Weapons could break, you could explore the world at your own pace, and choose your own path. It was a massive gamble from Nintendo, but by and large the gamble paid off, with Breath of the Wild being one of the most successful Zelda games to date. Breath of the Wild didn't stick to the Legend of Zelda script in many ways, and it also explored new directions in the story. Well, the Master Sword often plays a central role in Zelda games, and obtaining the Master Sword in a Zelda game is often one of the best moments in the game. Getting the Master Sword is usually key to taking on evil power in Hyrule, either by defeating the enemy or sealing away that evil. And the Master Sword was a prized possession in Breath of the Wild, although it didn't quite fit into the breakable weapons model Nintendo had crafted for this open world adventure. After all, the Master Sword couldn't break like the other disposable weapons in the game. That wouldn't work with the legend and the myth related to the sword. There's another iconic artefact that wasn't featured in Breath of the Wild, and it's something that has appeared in many other Legend of Zelda games, and that is the Triforce. This is a sacred item that gives the wielder immense power, plus it brings together the three main characters in the Legend of Zelda, so Ganon, Link and Princess Zelda herself. Looking at the trailers that we've seen for Tears of the Kingdom, it appears that all three characters will feature in the upcoming sequel to Breath of the Wild, meaning the Triforce could be about to return with them. Well, first of all, let's have a look at the Triforce in Zelda lore. So the Triforce has played a central role in many Legend of Zelda adventures that came before Breath of the Wild. So Link has the Triforce of Courage, Ganon has the Triforce of Power, and Princess Zelda looks after the Triforce of Wisdom. Now, typically in Zelda games, Ganon is trying to capture the pieces of the Triforce to keep the ultimate power for himself. Whoever possesses the Triforce has their wishes granted to them, no matter what their intention, which is why Link and Zelda are always trying to stop it falling into the wrong hands, because Ganon would most likely destroy or enslave Hyrule. The Triforce is seen on the royal crest, and it's also woven into the design of relics throughout Hyrule. Well, let's have a quick look at the Triforce in Breath of the Wild. So Breath of the Wild took another path when it came to the evil enemy in the game. And this time, Calamity Ganon was the big bad, and it didn't try to steal the Triforce or a great power. It seemingly wanted to destroy and corrupt everything that got in its way. Previously, we've seen Ganondorf trying to gather all the pieces of the Triforce through trickery, with the King of Thieves trying to deceive Link and Zelda. Calamity Ganon was different. This was much more of a force of nature, or dark magic, compared to Ganondorf or Ganon in a humanoid form. Now, while the main enemy in the game isn't trying to steal or gather the Triforce, that doesn't mean it's not present in Breath of the Wild. The Triforce is seen on Link's shield and in the royal designs, like on King Rome's belt buckle, and you can also see it on the Master Sword itself. The Triforce is still something to be revered. It's a symbol of peace and power, but perhaps it's been forgotten to time. So given we've seen Ganondorf's corpse, we've got all the pieces coming together, and that may mean the Triforce is about to return to Hyrule. Well, there are a couple of important moments in Breath of the Wild where Zelda calls upon her great power. In one moment, Link is about to be fried by a guardian, and Princess Zelda steps in to protect him from the laser. Now, Breath of the Wild story does go into some detail related to Princess Zelda and her struggle about not being able to control her great power, and it appears to come to her when she desperately needs it, and she cannot use it on demand. But we don't know if this is the full Triforce or simply just the Triforce of Wisdom. Well, next up, let's have a look at the Triforce in Tears of the Kingdom. So, we don't know much about the story in Tears of the Kingdom at this point in time, but the Triforce could play a pivotal role in the story. With Princess Zelda revealing her great power in Breath of the Wild and being unable to control it and lacking the understanding about that power, there is the potential for this to be explored in Tears of the Kingdom. It could be the story of Princess Zelda coming to terms with and also mastering her great power. Tears of the Kingdom could bring the third piece of the puzzle into the equation as well. So Breath of the Wild featured Link and Zelda, with us learning much about their relationship through intimate cutscenes. In the first trailer, we see what looks to be a mummified version of Ganondorf, and if this is in fact the King of Thieves, then the opportunity for the Triforce to return with him is absolutely real. We've seen the mummified version of Ganondorf reanimate, we see him screaming in the second trailer, and perhaps Princess Zelda releasing her power caught Ganondorf's attention, and now he's reanimated, and he's going to be back up to his old tricks trying to steal and gather all the pieces of the Triforce once again. So one final theory I'd like to mention for the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is the prospect of destroying the Triforce. So Tears of the Kingdom could be the end of the Zelda timeline, with the Ouroboros design in the logo, signifying the constant cycle of life, death and rebirth. Wars have been fought for centuries over the Triforce, therefore Link and Zelda could determine the only way to end the cycle is to destroy the Triforce itself. After all, if there's no Triforce, then there's no reason to fight again and again in an endless cycle. In Skyward Sword, at the very start of the Zelda timeline, Link defeats Demise, but he warns Link that it's not over and that an incarnation of his hatred is going to be reborn as a being to pursue domination of the world, as well as those with the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero, in a cycle of rebirth. Well, in Tears of the Kingdom, it looks like Ganondorf may be back once again, so destroying the Triforce may be the only thing left in Link and Zelda's playbook. Much like destroying the Ring of Power in Lord of the Rings, or the Infinity Stones in Avengers Endgame. If it does come to that extreme end, it's going to be a really, really dangerous conclusion. The Triforce is a divine power, and probably the most powerful artefact in the history of Hyrule. The consequences would likely be violent and dangerous for those wielding the three pieces of the Triforce, so that means Link, Zelda and Ganon. Well, whatever happens in Tears of the Kingdom, I hope the Triforce does make its return. This is an iconic artefact, and it would be fitting to see this back in the next Legend of Zelda story. Well, let me know in the comments what you think about the Triforce coming to Tears of the Kingdom. I would really, really love to hear from you, and love to hear your theories. Well, that is it for this look at the potential for the Triforce to come back to the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. And as always, thank you so much for watching or listening. For more Legend of Zelda content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to Triforce Times. Or you can check me out on Twitter at Triforce Times. Well, if you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you soon.